The alarms blared across Horizon Station, red lights flashing in every corridor. Alex Carter looked up from his desk, where alien language patterns filled multiple screens. At 35, he had spent over a decade studying how other species communicated, but today would test everything he knew. "All personnel report to emergency stations," said the calm voice of Commander Susan Wells over the intercom. "This is not a drill. Unknown vessel approaching. First contact protocols engaged." Alex's heart raced as he saved his work and hurried to the observation deck. The station buzzed with activity. Officers running to their posts, security teams checking weapons, scientists grabbing equipment. Everyone moved with purpose, but fear showed on their faces. The observation deck was already crowded when Alex arrived. Through the massive viewport he saw it, a ship unlike anything humans had built. It gleamed with a metallic purple sheen, its shape resembling something between a manta ray and a spider. It dwarfed their station, making Horizon look like a toy by comparison. "Carter, good timing," said Susan, waving him over. Her gray-streaked hair was pulled back tightly, her expression stern but controlled. "We've received transmission attempts. Need your expertise." Alex nodded and moved to the communication station. "Have they sent visual data?" "Just coming through now," replied Keith, the communications officer. His fingers shook slightly as he worked the controls. The main screen flickered and Alex felt the room grow quiet. Everyone stared at the aliens that appeared before them. They called themselves Viridians. Standing nearly 8 feet tall, they had exoskeletons like massive insects, with 4 arms and 2 legs. Their skin shifted colors, currently a deep blue with streaks of yellow. Multiple eyes blinked independently across elongated faces. Sharp claw-like appendages clicked as they moved. Several crew members stepped back instinctively. Even Susan's hand moved closer to her sidearm. But Alex leaned forward, fascinated. "They're beautiful," he whispered. The lead Viridian spoke, its voice translated through the computer. "We are the Viridian Collective. Your species is unknown to us. Identify yourselves." Susan stepped forward. "I am Commander Susan Wells of Horizon Station, representing the United Earth Alliance. We welcome peaceful contact." The alien's skin flashed red briefly. "Permission to board your station with a diplomatic party. We wish to assess your species." Susan hesitated only briefly. "Permission granted. We will prepare Docking Bay 3. As the screen went dark, murmurs erupted across the deck. "Commander, with all due respect, are you sure that's wise?" asked Security Chief Greg Donovan. "We know nothing about them." "Which is exactly why we need this meeting," Susan replied. She turned to Alex. "Carter, you're our best xenolinguist. I want you as our liaison." Alex nodded, excitement replacing his initial shock. "I'll prepare right away." 2 hours later, Alex stood in the docking bay as the airlock cycled open. The first Viridian ducked to enter, followed by 5 others. Up close, they were even more imposing. Their exoskeletons gleamed under the lights, and a faint odor like cinnamon and ozone filled the air. The lead Viridian stepped forward. Patterns of light rippled across its skin as it studied the humans. "I am Kira, ambassador of the Viridian Collective," it said, voice clicking between translated words. Alex stepped forward, ignoring Susan's cautioning hand on his arm. "I am Alex Carter, xenolinguist. Welcome to Horizon Station." He extended his hand, a gesture they had no reason to understand. To everyone's surprise, Kira extended one of her lower limbs, mimicking the gesture. Their hands met, her exoskeleton cool and smooth against his skin. "You approach without hesitation," Kira noted, her multiple eyes blinking in sequence. "Interesting." "We have much to learn from each other," Alex replied with a smile. Later, as the Viridians were shown to their quarters, Kira pulled Alex aside. "Most species cower when they first see us," she said, her skin shifting to a curious purple. "Yet you stepped forward." Alex arrived at meeting room 7 precisely at Oro 900 hours. The Viridians valued punctuality. He carried a tablet filled with human cultural files, music, art, literature, and historical records. Today marked the 5th day of meetings with Kira and her team. The door hissed open. Inside, Kira waited, with 2 guards standing behind her. Their exoskeletons gleamed under the lights polished to a shine that Alex now understood signified formal occasions. The guards' upper limbs rested near weapons that resembled curved blades. "Good morning, Ambassador Kira," Alex said with a slight bow. A gesture he had learned was respectful in Viridian culture. "Linguist Carter," Kira replied. Her skin rippled with blue and green patterns. Alex had begun to recognize this as her version of professional interest. "You are prompt. This pleases us." Alex took his seat across from her. The table between them was specially designed, higher on the Viridian side to accommodate their larger frames. "I've prepared more cultural materials as you requested." Kira's lower eyes blinked rapidly. "Before we begin, my superiors have questions about human military capabilities." Alex kept his expression neutral. This wasn't the first time the topic had come up. "I've included some historical information about our defense systems. As I mentioned before, my expertise is in communication, not warfare. Yet all species must defend themselves." One of the guards clicked. His skin flashed red, a color Alex had learned indicated either aggression or impatience. "Varn, please," Kira said sharply. The guard stepped back, his colors fading to a neutral brown. Alex swiped through his tablet. "Perhaps we could start with something different today. I've brought samples of human music." He played a classical piece, Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. The Viridians listened, their head appendages tilting at curious angles. When it ended, Kira's skin had taken on a pale yellow glow. "The sounds rise and fall like our tidal oceans," she observed. "There is conflict in the notes, yet harmony emerges. Interesting." Alex smiled. Music often tells stories without words. This piece was written by a composer who could no longer hear. He created what he could not experience? The second guard asked, colors shifting to a surprised purple. "Yes, humans often push beyond their limitations." Kira leaned forward. "In our history, we have encountered 7 other spacefaring species. All submitted to our dominance or were contained." Alex felt a chill despite his training to remain neutral. "Contained? Those who cannot be allied with must be controlled," Kira stated matter-of-factly. "It is the natural order." Alex took a breath. "Humans have a different perspective. We seek understanding first. Even when threatened?" Varn clicked, his colors darkening. "Especially then," Alex replied. "In our history, fear often led to our worst mistakes." He shared images of human art depicting both warfare and peace. He showed them literature that explored complex moral questions. Throughout the presentation, he noticed Kira's colors shifting, between shades he hadn't seen before. "Your species is confusing," she finally said. "You acknowledge your physical weakness compared to us, yet you do not display appropriate caution." "Being cautious isn't the same as being fearful," Alex explained. "We've learned to face what scares us." After the meeting concluded, Alex reported to Commander Susan in her office. The station's viewports showed the massive Viridian ship hovering nearby. "They've requested more information about our military," he told her. "And they've admitted to subjugating other species." Susan frowned. "That confirms our suspicions. The diplomatic channels are hearing similar reports from other outposts. The Viridian High Command has requested direct communication." "That could be good or bad," Alex said. "Prepare for bad," Susan replied. "They're sending a military delegation tomorrow." Later that night, as Alex reviewed his notes, a message appeared on his screen. "Human linguist. I require private consultation. Kira." Alex hesitated only briefly before responding. As he sent his reply, he didn't notice the small blinking light on his quarters ceiling, a Viridian surveillance device recording his every move. In her private chamber aboard the Viridian vessel, Kira reviewed the day's recordings. Her skin swirled with conflicted colors as she whispered to herself, "Why are they so different? What makes humans face danger rather than flee? I must understand." "Why?" Alex considered his answer carefully. Different doesn't mean frightening. It means new possibilities. Kira's skin flashed with rapid colors. You are unlike others we have encountered. As Alex left to report to Susan, he didn't notice Kira watching him with all 6 of her eyes. Her skin now pulsing with a pattern no human could yet interpret, one that signaled deep confusion about everything she thought she knew about how species interact when meeting for the first time. The Viridian military vessel docked with Horizon Station at exactly 0600 hours. It was smaller than the diplomatic ship, but bristled with what were clearly weapon systems. Alex stood beside Commander Susan in the main docking bay, watching as the airlock cycled open. The Viridian who stepped through first was larger than any Alex had seen before, standing nearly 9 feet tall, with an exoskeleton so dark it appeared almost black with red patterns flowing across its surface. 4 arms, each ending in sharp articulated claws, moved with precise, controlled gestures. "I am General Vex of the Viridian High Command," the imposing figure announced, voice deeper and harsher than Kira's. "I come to evaluate humanity's worth." Susan stepped forward. "Commander Susan Wells, welcome to Horizon Station, General. We hope for productive discussions." The General's upper eyes narrowed while the lower ones scanned the bay, cataloging defenses, exits, and personnel. Discussions are secondary. Actions reveal truth. Kira emerged behind the General, her colors more muted than usual. She gave Alex a brief look that he couldn't interpret. "The High Command has authorized a series of challenges," General Vex continued, "to assess your species properly." Susan's expression remained neutral, but Alex noticed her posture stiffen. "What kind of challenges?" "Tests of strength, tactical thinking, and resolve," the General replied. "All spacefaring species must prove themselves worthy of respect." Later, in the station's conference room, Susan paced back and forth. "This is unacceptable. They're treating this like some sort of evaluation for membership in their empire." "In their view, that's exactly what it is," Alex said quietly. "Their entire society is structured around dominance hierarchies. We can't agree to these challenges. It's diplomatic." "Suicide," Susan argued. "If we lose, they'll see us as weak. If we win, they might see us as a threat." Before Alex could respond, his communication device buzzed. A message from Kira. "Accept the challenges. It is the only way." Alex looked up at Susan. "I think we should do it. Have you lost your mind?" "No, I've gained perspective," Alex replied. "In Viridian culture, respect is earned through action. Words mean little to them." The challenges began the next day in the station's largest cargo bay, now cleared and repurposed. Station crew gathered to watch as General Vex announced the first test: physical combat. "Hand-to-hand, no weapons," the General stated. "Who will represent humanity?" Alex stepped forward before Susan could object. "I will." His opponent was one of the General's guards, standing 7.5 feet tall with a greenish exoskeleton. The match was brief and predictable. Despite Alex's training, he found himself pinned to the floor in less than 2 minutes. "First test concluded," General Vex announced, his skin flashing triumphant colors. "Humans lack physical prowess as expected." Alex stood, brushing himself off. "There are different kinds of strength, General." The second challenge was a tactical simulation. A complex game of strategy involving resource management and territory control. Alex performed better here, using unexpected moves that seemed to puzzle his Viridian opponent. Though he ultimately lost, the match lasted hours rather than minutes. "Interesting approach," General Vex commented, studying the final board position. "Unorthodox." The final challenge was presented the following day. A simulation of a space battle with Alex commanding a virtual human fleet against a Viridian armada. Rather than engaging directly, Alex used the asteroid field to his advantage, setting traps and using smaller, faster ships to outmaneuver the larger Viridian vessels. When the simulation ended, Alex had lost fewer ships and achieved the mission objectives. A murmur ran through the watching Viridians. "You fight differently than expected," General Vex said, his colors shifting rapidly in what seemed like confusion. Alex looked at Kira standing in the dim corridor outside his quarters. Her question hung in the air between them. He glanced both ways down the empty hallway. Maybe we should talk inside, he suggested, opening his door. Kira ducked to enter. Her exoskeleton clicked softly against the metal floor as she moved. Inside, she seemed even larger, her head nearly touching the ceiling. This is not proper protocol, she admitted, colors shifting to a muted blue. But I must understand. Alex gestured to the room's small seating area. I had the furniture adjusted for Viridian anatomy, he said, pointing to a reinforced chair designed to support her weight. You prepared for this conversation? Kira's colors flickered with surprise. I hoped we might speak privately at some point, Alex replied, sitting across from her. Your question deserves a thoughtful answer. Kira settled carefully onto the reinforced chair. General Vex believes humans are either foolish or hiding something. You should fear us. We have conquered worlds. We have technology beyond yours. We could destroy this station in moments. Alex nodded. I understand that, and I respect your capabilities. Respect is not fear, Kira countered. No, it's not, Alex agreed. He leaned forward. Let me ask you something. In your travels, what's the most dangerous thing you've encountered? Kira's upper limbs made a gesture Alex had learned indicated consideration. There was a sentient predator species in the Norvan system. They hunted Viridians for sport. We nearly lost an entire colony before defeating them. And that made you fear them? Of course. Fear is rational when faced with extinction. Alex stood and walked to the small viewport showing Earth, a tiny blue dot from this distance. Humans evolved on a world filled with predators. We weren't the strongest, fastest, or most numerous. But we had something else. The ability to remember the past and imagine the future. He turned back to Kira. We don't fear you because we've already faced the worst the universe has to offer. Ourselves. Kira's colors shifted to a confused yellow. Explain. Throughout our history, we've nearly destroyed ourselves multiple times, Alex continued. We've had global wars that killed millions. We developed weapons that could end all life on our planet. We poisoned our air, our water, our land. He activated his tablet, showing Kira images from human history. Mushroom clouds from nuclear tests, devastated cities from wars, polluted landscapes. We came to the edge of extinction by our own hand, Alex said quietly, and we stepped back. Kira studied the images, her colors pulsing slowly. Your own species was your greatest threat. Yes, and that's why we don't fear you, Alex explained. We respect your power. We acknowledge the danger. But true fear, the kind that overwhelms reason, we reserve for what we know we're capable of doing to ourselves. He sat down again. Humans know fear intimately, Kira. We simply choose not to let it control us. We act despite it, not because of it. Kira was silent for a long moment, her colors shifting through patterns Alex had never seen before. This is not what I expected, she finally said. In our history, we defeated our predators and vowed never to be vulnerable again. Our entire civilization is built on dominating before we can be dominated. There's another way, Alex suggested gently. Cooperation has taken humans further than conflict ever did. Kira rose suddenly, her colors flashing rapidly. I must consider what you've said. This changes many assumptions. As she moved toward the door, she paused. The High Command will not easily accept this perspective, General Vex especially. Alex stood as well. Change rarely comes easily. No, Kira agreed, her colors settling into a determined orange. But perhaps it comes necessarily. After she left, Alex immediately called Commander Susan. I think I've made progress with Kira, he told her. But we might have a problem with General Vex. Already ahead of you, Susan replied grimly. Our sensors just detected the Viridian military vessel powering up weapons systems. Whatever you said to Kira, it stirred something up. That night, Alex found Kira waiting outside his quarters. You performed well today, she said. But not impressively, Alex replied. No, you lost 2 of 3 challenges. Yet. Her colors swirled in that now familiar pattern of confusion. You showed no fear of failure, no fear of us. Her upper limbs gestured with frustration. Why don't you fear us, human? Kira moved through the corridors of the Viridian ship with purpose. Her mind still processed the conversation with Alex. His words had planted a seed of doubt about everything she had been taught. The central command room loomed ahead, its doors guarded by two warriors whose exoskeletons gleamed under the harsh lights. Ambassador, they acknowledged, stepping aside. Inside, General Vex stood before a large display showing Horizon Station. Other military officers moved around the room, checking systems and monitoring communications. Vex turned as Kira entered, his colors shifting to a dark red. Your meeting with the human was not authorized, he stated. Kira kept her colors neutral. As ambassador, I gather information through many channels. And what information did you gather? Vex's upper limbs clicked impatiently. Humans have a different relationship with fear than we assumed, Kira replied carefully. They acknowledge danger but don't allow it to control their actions. Vex made a dismissive gesture. A convenient claim for a physically weak species. He motioned Kira closer to a private display. The High Command has reviewed all data. Their decision is final. The screen showed a battle plan. Kira's colors flashed with alarm before she could control them. Total neutralization? She asked, keeping her voice steady. We haven't completed diplomatic assessment. We have sufficient data, Vex replied. Humans represent an unacceptable anomaly. They lack appropriate fear responses. They cannot be controlled through standard dominance. Therefore, they must be eliminated before they spread. Kira struggled to maintain her neutral colors. When? 26 standard hours. We await final authorization codes. Meanwhile, on Horizon Station, Alex was teaching a small group of crew members about Viridian communication patterns. Susan had ordered all personnel to learn basic interaction protocols. Their colors indicate emotional states, Alex explained. Red often signals aggression or impatience. Blue can mean professional, interest, or calm. Always watch for rapid color changes. That's usually strong emotion. Chief Security Officer Greg raised his hand. What about body language? Upper limbs raised means potential threat, Alex demonstrated with his arms. Head tilted means confusion or curiosity. And never ever make sudden movements toward their central body mass that's seen as an attack. The lesson continued for another hour. When it ended, Susan pulled Alex aside. Our intelligence team intercepted some Viridian communications, she said quietly. They're encrypted, but the patterns suggest military coordination. Alex frowned. That matches what Kira hinted at. She seemed worried when she left. I've put the station on elevated alert, Susan said. We're preparing evacuation protocols just in case. Let me try to reach Kira, Alex suggested. She might provide more information. Susan nodded. Do it. But be careful. We can't afford to provoke them. Back on the Viridian ship, Kira sat alone in her quarters, her colors swirling with conflict. Alex's words echoed in her mind. We act despite fear, not because of it. The entire foundation of Viridian society challenged by a simple human perspective. She accessed the ship's database, reviewing historical records of first contact with other species. Each followed the same pattern. Initial fear from the other. Species followed by submission or conflict. Never cooperation between equals. What if there was another way? Kira made her decision. She composed a message to Alex, encrypting it with a personal code rather than the official channels. The message was brief. Danger imminent. Evacuation advised 26 hours. She hesitated. Alex stared at the message on his screen, reading it for the third time. The warning from Kira was clear. They had barely more than a day before the Viridians attacked. He rushed to the command center where Susan was reviewing security protocols with her team. Commander, we have a problem, Alex said, showing her the message. Susan's face hardened as she read it. Evacuation plans are already in motion. Non-essential personnel will begin boarding transport vessels within the hour. What about Kira? Alex asked. She risked everything to warn us. Susan shook her head. That's not our concern. Our priority is saving our people. Alex stepped closer, lowering his voice. She represents a fundamental shift in Viridian thinking. If we leave her behind, we lose our best chance at peaceful relations. You're suggesting a rescue mission? Susan looked incredulous. That's suicide, Carter. Not if we use what we know about Viridian psychology and ship design, Alex argued. He pulled up schematics on a nearby display, information Kira had shared during their cultural exchanges. Their vessels have predictable patrol patterns, and I know how their security systems work. Susan studied the schematics. Even if this is possible, I can't order anyone to risk their lives on this mission. Then don't. I volunteer, Alex said firmly. In the end, Susan reluctantly approved the plan. Alex would lead a small team. Himself, Security Officer Greg, and Engineer Maya Lin. They would use a maintenance shuttle, modified to mask its energy signature. If you're not back in 3 hours, we leave without you, Susan told them as they prepared to depart. That's non-negotiable. The journey to the Viridian ship was tense but uneventful. Using the information from Kira, they approached through a blind spot in the Viridian sensors. The maintenance hatch Kira had mentioned was exactly where she said it would be. Maya worked quickly to bypass the lock. I'm in, she whispered after a minute of careful work. Inside, the Viridian ship was hot and humid, with reddish lighting that made it difficult for human eyes to adjust. Alex led them through narrow maintenance corridors, avoiding the main passageways where Viridians would be present. According to Kira's message, detention cells are 2 levels down, Alex whispered, checking a small device that translated Viridian markings. We need to hurry. They encountered 2 Viridian maintenance workers but managed to hide before being spotted. As they descended to the detention level, the corridors widened and security increased. How do we get past them? Greg asked, pointing to 2 guards stationed at a security checkpoint. Alex pulled out a small device. Kira mentioned their communication systems operate on specific frequencies. This should create a false alarm on the other side of the ship. He activated the device. Moments later, alarms blared, and the guards hurried away, responding to the perceived emergency. The detention area contained 6 cells. In the last one, they found Kira. Her exoskeleton had lost its shine and her colors were dull gray, a sign of distress in Viridians. Alex, she said in disbelief as Maya worked on the cell door. You came for me? We don't leave allies behind, Alex replied simply. As the door slid open, a new alarm sounded, different from the false one they had triggered. They've detected us, Greg warned, weapon ready. They hurried back toward the maintenance hatch, supporting Kira, who seemed weakened. At an intersection, they came face to face with General Vex and 4 armed guards, species traitor and human. Thieves, Vex hissed, his colors burning bright red. You will not leave this ship alive. The guards raised their weapons. Without hesitation, Alex stepped in front of Kira. Your problem is with me, not her, he said. She simply saw what you refused to see. There's another way besides domination. There is only strength and weakness, Vex replied. He gave a signal, and one of the guards fired. Alex felt burning pain in his shoulder as the energy blast hit him. He stumbled but remained standing. Greg returned fire, creating confusion. Maya threw a flash device that disoriented the Viridian's sensitive vision. In the chaos, they pulled Alex and Kira down a side corridor. The shuttle is just ahead, Maya urged as they ran. Behind them, Vex's angry roar echoed through the corridors. Alert all ships. Prepare to attack the human station, no survivors before sending. This was treason against her species, but perhaps it was loyalty to a better future. As the message transmitted, Kira's door slid open. General Vex stood there, flanked by guards, his colors blazing angry red. Unauthorized communication detected, he stated flatly. Explain yourself, Ambassador. Kira rose, keeping her posture non-threatening. I am pursuing diplomatic alternatives. You have exceeded your authority, Vex replied. His upper limbs signaled to the guards. Ambassador Kira, you are relieved of duty and confined to quarters pending investigation for species treason. As the guards moved forward, Kira's colors shifted to a resolute orange. She only hoped her warning had reached Alex in time. The maintenance shuttle shuddered as it docked with Horizon Station. Alex grimaced, holding his wounded shoulder. Blood seeped through the makeshift bandage Maya had applied during their escape. Kira watched him with concern, her colors shifting to a deep blue that Alex had never seen before. "Medical team to Docking Bay 4, Susan's voice announced over the communication system. As the airlock opened, medical staff rushed in. They helped Alex onto a stretcher while security officers surrounded Kira, weapons raised. "Stand down," Alex ordered weakly. "She's on our side." Susan entered the bay, her expression tight with worry. "Get him to medical," she told the staff before turning to Kira. "You'll be under guard until we verify your intentions." Kira's colors remained calm. "I understand your caution, Commander." An hour later, Alex lay in the medical bay. The station's doctor had treated his wound with synthetic skin grafts and pain medication. Though tired, he insisted on speaking with Susan and Kira immediately. "The Viridian fleet is mobilizing," Susan informed him as she entered with Kira and 2 guards. "We've begun evacuation, but we won't get everyone out in time." Alex struggled to sit up. "We need to broadcast a message to all Viridian ships." "To what end?" Susan asked. "To tell them the truth," Alex replied, looking at Kira. "About humans and Viridians." Kira stepped forward, her guards tensing. "There is something you should know first." She turned to Susan. "May I speak freely?" Susan nodded. "My species did not begin as conquerors," Kira said, her colors shifting to a muted purple of sadness. "We began as prey." Alex and Susan exchanged surprised glances. "On our homeworld, we evolved alongside apex predators that hunted us for generations." Kira continued. "Our exoskeletons, our multiple eyes, our color-changing skin, all adaptations to survive being hunted." She moved closer to Alex's bed. "Then thousands of years ago, we developed tools and weapons. We overthrew our predators. We swore never to be vulnerable again." "So you became the predators," Alex said softly. "Yes. Our entire civilization is built on one premise: dominate or be dominated. It was the only path to survival we could imagine." Kira's colors rippled with emotion. "Until you." Susan frowned. "What makes us different?" "You evolved alongside your predators like us," Kira explained. "But instead of only developing the instinct to fight or flee, you developed a third option: to face fear and act despite it." Alex nodded slowly. "That's why my answer disturbed you so much. It offered an alternative path we never considered," Kira said. "One where strength comes not from dominating others, but from mastering ourselves." A station-wide alarm interrupted them. Susan's communication device buzzed. "The Viridian fleet is moving into attack position," an officer reported. 5 minutes to weapon range." Susan turned to Alex and Kira. "Whatever message you want to send, do it now." Moving to the communication station in medical, Alex connected to the station's broadcast system while Kira interfaced with the Viridian communication frequency. "What will you say?" Kira asked. "The truth," Alex replied. "About both, our species." As the Viridian ships moved into formation around Horizon Station, officers on those vessels received an unexpected transmission, a joint broadcast from a human and a Viridian. "To all Viridian vessels," Alex began, his face appearing on their screens despite his obvious injury. "I am Alex Carter of Earth. Beside me is Ambassador Kira, who risks everything to speak with you." Kira's colors shifted to a determined. The broadcast continued as tension mounted throughout the Viridian fleet. Alex's face, pale from his injury but determined, filled the screens alongside Kira. "Our species chose different paths," Alex explained. "But we share the same goal: survival. Viridians sought to eliminate all threats through strength. Humans learned to face threats through cooperation." Kira's colors shifted to a vibrant blue-green as she added, "Look at this human. He was wounded protecting me, an alien he barely knows. Not because I control him through fear, but because he chose to act with courage. On the command ship, Lieutenant Zarn turned to General Vex. "Sir, the broadcast is spreading through all vessels. The crews are watching." "Cut transmission," Vex ordered, his colors flaring angry red. "Systems aren't responding," another officer reported. "The human station is using our own communication protocols against us." Meanwhile, Susan had ordered the broadcast boosted by a secondary transmission, footage of Alex stepping in front of Kira to protect her from Vex's guards. The image of a wounded human shielding a Viridian played across every screen in the fleet. "For generations, we believed that fear and dominance were the only path to security," Kira continued. "But look at what humans have achieved by facing their fears instead of being ruled by them. They nearly destroyed themselves, yet found the courage to change." In the medical bay, Alex reached out with his good arm and placed his hand on Kira's exoskeleton, a gesture of trust and unity that was captured and transmitted to the fleet. "We offer an alliance based on mutual respect," Alex said. "Not dominance, but partnership. Together, we can be stronger than either of us alone." Throughout the Viridian fleet, colors shifted and changed as officers and crew debated among themselves. The younger officers especially showed colors of curiosity and possibility, shades of purple and green that indicated openness to new ideas. On the command ship, Zarn stepped forward. "General, perhaps we should consider their proposal." "Weakness," Vex hissed. "I will not be swayed by pretty words." He pushed past Zarn to the weapons console. "I will fire myself." Several younger officers moved to block him. Their colors showed not aggression, but firm resolve. "Stand aside," Vex ordered. "No," Zarn replied simply. "The human speaks truth we have long ignored. There is another way." More officers joined Zarn. Not a mutiny exactly, but a transformation, like a wave of color washing across the bridge. Vex looked around at his officers, seeing the change happening before his eyes. For the first time in his long career, his colors showed something unexpected: uncertainty. Back on Horizon Station, Susan received an incoming communication from the Viridian fleet. Lieutenant Zarn's image appeared on screen. "Horizon Station, this is Acting Commander Zarn. General Vex has been relieved of command. We request continuation of diplomatic talks." 3 weeks later, Alex stood on the observation deck of Horizon Station. His arm was still in a healing sling, but the pain had mostly subsided. Beside him stood Kira, her exoskeleton polished to a formal shine, her colors a calm and confident blue. "The Council has approved your appointment as permanent ambassador," Alex told her. "The first joint human-Viridian diplomatic mission leaves next month." Kira's colors rippled with pleasure. "Much work remains. Centuries of thinking cannot be changed overnight." "But it can change," Alex replied. "One mind at a time." They watched as a new ship docked with the station, the first vessel crewed by both humans and Viridians. Its name was painted in both languages across the hull. "Courage. You never answered my question completely," Kira said after a moment. "When I asked why you didn't fear us, you explained human history. But I think there was more." Alex smiled. "Fear has a purpose. It warns us of danger. But it's a terrible master. Humans learned that the most beautiful things often wait on the other side of fear." "Like friendship between different worlds," Kira observed, her colors shifting to a warm orange. "Exactly," Alex agreed. "Not the absence of fear, but the courage to move through it." Outside the viewport, Earth glowed as a distant blue dot, no longer alone in the vastness of space and perhaps a little less afraid. Orange as she spoke. "Fellow Viridians, we have misunderstood humans. They are not prey that refuses to acknowledge. Predators, they are not predators hiding their strength." Alex continued. "Humans and Viridians share similar histories. We both faced extinction. But where you chose one path to survival, we found another. Before you fire upon this station," Kira added, her colors intensifying, "consider that there may be more than one way to ensure our species' future." On the bridge of his command ship, General Vex watched the broadcast, his colors darkening with rage. "Ignore this propaganda. Prepare to fire." But around him, Younger officers exchanged glances, their colors showing uncertainty and curiosity as the broadcast continued.